Have you ever tried or know someone who smokes weed? Living on college campuses will often come with parties and underage drinking, where many will experience their first use of marijuana. While there are many talks on the legalization of recreational marijuana in the US, many people will often ignore adolescents and college students, where marijuana will have lasting effects on their school life and future. Marijuana and drug use has always been a problem in universities, with people illegally consuming or distributing the drug across campuses, with many students on our campus being familiar with the drug. Learning about substance abuse through high school and being exposed to many classmates having used and continue to use, and even some distributing marijuana, I wanted to research into how marijuana is particularly significant in teenagers and students that are in high school and college. I'm sure that everyone knows somebody that has used or even maybe are experienced with marijuana due to being in a university, or I've heard stories about people using recreational marijuana. So I wish to argue against students using marijuana on campus. Marijuana should not be used on college campuses due to the negative side effects that it has on students, such as dependence and addiction, and how together with alcohol and smoking contributed to the dangerous risks of impairment for students, affecting their academic life, and not even getting into the legality of marijuana. I first want to inform you on the drug itself and the spread and uses of the plant across the country and side effects on young people, and conclude with a statement that will hopefully make you reconsider taking that edible. We should try to understand what marijuana is and why it's such a hot topic among people. Marijuana is the leaves, stems, and seeds of the plant Cannabis sativa. It is the most widely used illicit drug. In most cases, marijuana causes relatively brief and mild intoxication. Elizabeth Nelson from the Salem Press Encyclopedia of Health has cited how the U.S. National Survey on Drug Use and Health reported in 2014 about 22 million Americans ages 12 and older had used marijuana in the past month and 36 million in the past year. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, or NIDA for short, 4 million people in the United States met the criteria for cannabis use disorder in 2015, of which 138,000 sought treatment. Often called a gateway drug, marijuana has been consumed by smoking, through medicinal oils, or by ingesting directly, cited by England Morrow. As Nelson states, marijuana contains over 60 chemicals called cannabinoids, which are unique to the cannabis plant family. 9-THC in particular binds to the brain, spinal cord, and nervous system, which causes the psychoactive effects of marijuana. Although there has been research for the use of medicinal marijuana, recreational use among teenagers and college students continue to persist, where they are most at risk and vulnerable to becoming addicted at a young age. Daily or near daily use of marijuana has increased in recent years for college students, raising from 3.5% in 2007 to 4.6% in 2015, according to the Drug Enforcement Agency. Marijuana use is affected by socio-demographic, contextual, and psychological factors, according to a study done on 7 Georgia universities on alcohol and marijuana use, headed by Akila Patterson. These can include societal pressure, trauma, depression, and mental disorders. Now that we have seen how widespread marijuana use is, I want to talk about the negative side effects that come with it, and especially how it hits hard for young people. Many people experience a pleasant euphoria and sense of relaxation when they use marijuana, but this unfortunately does not mean that it deters any negative health effects that come along with it. The most significant consequence to physical health is respiratory problems. Known effects of cannabis smoke include increases in coughing and sputum production, and the presence of chronic bronchitis system and inflammation of the respiratory tract. People who have taken large doses of marijuana may experience an acute psychosis, which includes hallucinations, delusions, and loss of the sense of self. These unpleasant but temporary reactions are distinct from longer-lasting psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia stated by the NIDA. The impacts on adolescents are much more severe than realized, as it has been shown that the use of marijuana will often lead to reduced cognitive ability, as the human brain hasn't fully grown until the age of 25, and will lead to people dropping out of school early. The NIDA states research that has shown the marijuana's negative effects on attention, memory, and learning can last for days and weeks after the acute effects of the drug wear off. Consequently, someone who smokes marijuana daily may be functioning at a reduced intellectual level most or all of the time, as stated by the NIDA. Wilkinson states in a government article on research done by Meyer on marijuana use on adolescents was associated with cognitive impairment in multiple areas, including executive functioning, processing speech, memory, and verbal comprehension. The most illicit drug users start with licit drugs such as alcohol or tobacco, but sometimes it can be the other way around, where marijuana is often first used because it is relatively safe in overdosing and is widely available across the country. Other risk factors for beginning marijuana use include peer pressure, the influence of mental disorders, and the absence of parents. Marguerite van Laar and her colleagues reported in 2007 that among those who had used cannabis more than 5 times in the past 3 years, has an increase in mood disorders was up by 11.7% compared to 5% of non-users, with the most common mood disorder being major depression. Several studies have also linked heavy marijuana use to lower income, greater welfare dependence, unemployment, criminal behavior, and lower life satisfaction. There are several ways to prevent marijuana use in receiving treatment for withdrawal symptoms. One of the biggest things that can deter the first intake of a drug is risk awareness in secondary schools and primary schools that will at least give insight on the risk involved in consuming the drug. Also, many times mental stress or depression, people will often fear seeking help for withdrawal symptoms or signs of addiction. But it's important to reach out to centers that can help people deal with any mental or physical problems. In conclusion, marijuana has a big impact on college life and continues to affect millions of students across the U.S. and their social life. It is important to understand the potential risks involved in partaking in marijuana use. It is a legal substance in Georgia, but many will still use underhanded methods to obtain the drug. I believe that college students should not partake in marijuana consumption, not just for the legality of it, but because of the potential mental risks and effects on academic performance. I plead the next time you encounter someone offering you marijuana, you refuse their advances, and if you are consuming marijuana, please seek out our help if you are experiencing addictive symptoms. I hope this gave you more insight on the negative effects of marijuana, and especially on students in our age group, in a time of significance. Don't let your grades fall due to bad decision making, and reach out to those who are suffering from addiction.